Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island Time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals such as the Fudge Ferry and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here.
Hello, I'm Phyllis Smith. I'm the director of EWN Podcast Network, and we are so excited and fortunate to have Jane Johnston as one of our hosts. And Jane's show is called Vancouver Island Time. And it's so interesting how Jane came about first landing in Vancouver Island, on Vancouver Island, and then how, she came up even with the title and the kinds of things she's going to do. So I wanted to talk to Jane about that and share that with you so that you can see how interesting she is and how her show is going to be just so fascinating to learn about the people there. And so Jane, thank you so much for the privilege for, allowing me to talk to you and share you with the world.
Thank you, Phyllis. And I really do appreciate you taking the time today to talk to me. I know your time's valuable, so I do appreciate it. I totally respect you with all your experience with NBC and working at eWomen Network. And so I just thought, if I'm going to be introduced, I want to be introduced by a pro. So thank you again.
Well, it is my pleasure, and we love having you. So first of all, your story about landing in Vancouver Island, you're Canadian, but you weren't always there. So what got you over to Vancouver Island to begin with?
Well, I actually grew up in Toronto, which is one of the largest cities in Canada. It's in the middle eastern side of Canada, just above New York State. So you're from the U.S. Some people don't know where Toronto is. It was a big city. I went to university in a small town called Kingston. I went to Queen's University. I really liked the size of that city. And then when I did my teaching degree, I ended up in New Brunswick in another small town called Fredericton. And I had the opportunity when I went back to Toronto to come out to Victoria to teach at Pearson College. And I'd applied to be a student at Pearson College when I was a teenager. I didn't get in, but I knew of its reputation. So I thought, wow, I have to go out and see Victoria. And I'd been out here when I was 16. I loved the West Coast. And so when I saw the size of the city, I just fell in love with it. It has all the amenities. It has beautiful restaurants. It has a gorgeous scenery. And I just thought, I want to live here. So I worked for 4 years as a teacher in the summers. And I'd go actually from the West Coast directly to the East Coast to New Brunswick. And I could compare the two. And I decided in the end that I wanted to live on the West Coast. So I came out here in 99 to teach and do my master's in education. And then I got into real estate. And so when I finished my master's, I just decided, okay, that's it. I'm staying. They're not getting rid of me.
And you never left. You went out in 19, that was it. And yeah, you're there to stay. So, you said it has all the amenities. So what does that mean exactly? You said it's got scenery, but there's something else really unique about it. I mean, when people think of Vancouver, then there's Vancouver Island. So why don't you explain the difference of the two and some of the unique things and people that live on the island?
Well, Vancouver is a very cosmopolitan city. It's very large. I think it's the second or third largest city in Canada. It's huge. It takes hours, just like Toronto. It takes an hour and a half to get anywhere. Victoria, on the other hand, 20 minutes and you're there. We're right on the ocean. We have a beautiful harbor. We have a really colonial type setting. So it feels like a lot of people who are British feel like they're at home when they come here. We have great restaurants. We have a beautiful museum, art gallery. We have a symphony. We have lots of arts and culture. And then the people here are kind of eclectic. And I have to tell you, when I first decided to move here, my dad gave me a bit of a hassle. He's like, Jane, those people on the West Coast, they're too laid back. So I thought, okay, well,
Where's he from? I just have to too laid back. Where's he?
there's Scotland.
Okay.
And he came from a small town. He liked living in Toronto. So anyway, I came out here, and I just find that people here, a lot of people don't ever leave the island. You don't have to. You can go skiing, you can go kayaking, you can go inner tubing on the river. It's just really, really pleasant and pastoral. I live on an acre, 20 minutes from downtown Victoria. I have a view of the ocean. I can walk to the beach from my home. I couldn't do that in Toronto. So that's why I love it.
It really sounds like a little piece of heaven. Um, but I know that there's going to be some really interesting people you're going to interview for your podcast. So can you just name,
A few of
give
them?
us just an overview, like a quick little something about maybe a couple of them that you're going to be talking to, and you're going to be going on location, which I love. I love that. So I think that really is going to be fun.
Well, actually, yesterday I went to interview my very first person, Leslie Hopkins, and while I was waiting for her, the bubble man showed up. So this guy walks around with a huge bubble stick, and that he dips, and he releases bubbles into the air for everyone to enjoy. So that was hilarious. I put that on my Facebook page. And then there's the chicken lady. So she raises chickens. She tells little stories about them. She's actually not yet agreed to be on the show. I'm working on her because she's such a fabulous personality. There's the fudge ferry. So this lady makes fudge, and of all different colors and shapes and tastes, and she sells it on her roadside. And actually the bus used to stop outside her house to for everyone to stop off and buy some fudge. So that's the kind of, it's so small that it allows people to be unique and special, and really do the things that they want to do out here. A lot of people don't work just one job. They do what they love to do, what is their passion. And I guess that's what I'm trying to find out, what everybody's passion is.
And it just seems like it's a little niche, this like little place, and that so many people. I mean, we're from the state. I'm from the States. I live in Dallas. I might not have considered going to Vancouver Island for a vacation. You think of Vancouver, but when you think of what you're doing is you're really exposing us to this little piece of heaven, this little piece of the earth that, and some really little, some interesting people that live there. And I do want to say that you're also a real estate agent, and it seems to me that it's not one of those, yeah, I can't do it, I'm just going to make some extra money and become a real estate agent. But it's really you really love what you do because of the environment, and what you're selling is seems to be a passion of yours.
Right. Well, I find that as I work with people, I get to know them on a very personal level, and I find out what makes them tick. And, when they first come to Victoria, I'm asking them, what kind of neighborhood are you looking for? What type of people do you like to hang around with? So yesterday we were in Fernwood, which is a very relaxed kind of hippie type community. Everyone paints the uh, power posts out, the wooden power posts on the road, different colors, whatever's in front of their house, however they want. It's about 6 feet tall. Like, that's kind of a unique area. It has its own community garden and public theater. Or maybe you want something that's kind of out in reality, out of reality, I should say, kind of souk, which is in the middle of nowhere. You have really dramatic weather, lots of fog, and beautiful sunrises. It's on the West Coast. Or maybe you're, looking for something in the forest. You can go to the highlands, and where you have larger lots and you're really on your own. You feel like you could really live off the grid there. So depending on what people are looking for, like Oak Bay is a really quaint town within the greater Victoria area, and it has its own little community fairs and stuff like that. We have markets all over the place. So That and also the demographics of people. So, if you're older and retiring, we're going to look for a home that's one level and maybe walking distance to amenities. Or if you're a family, we're looking for a neighborhood where there are lots of great schools that people can hang around with. So everybody has their sort of different characteristics that they're looking for, and what I'm trying to do is match them up with the community. And then I work in the Greater Victoria area, and I'm also aligned with realtors up the island. So I'm going to be talking to them as we go through the podcast as well to see what their markets are like and what they're doing.
I love it. And I just love the idea of exposing people to something that, they've never been, might never have known about, and meeting people they never have known about. And so I'm excited for you. And so you are actually, so you're launching today, and you'll have a weekly show. And people can listen to your show in several different ways. One is through the EWN podcast network.com. They can find you there, but you also have your own site as well where your podcast will be. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's called VancouverIslandTime.com. And how we came up with the name was, first of all, we thought of Vancouver Island Times, kind of like the news, so figuring out what's going on that's newsworthy. But then we also thought, about island time and how we're a little laid back here. And
Wait, say it like your dad says it. Say it like your dad says it.
They're a little laid back there. I once hosted a meeting using my Scottish accent the whole time. Sometimes I get asked to do it, but I didn't feel very comfortable.
Oh, you remind me of my favorite when you talk like I don't know. It reminds me of my my favorite show that I'm watching now. Oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind, but it's all in Scotland. And anyway,
Oh, I know, Outlander.
Outlander, yes,
Outlander.
And he's always saying, "I done again," and I'm like, "Oh, I know that." Anyway, that's great. So Vancouver. So again, you came up with the name. It was Vancouver Island Time, and so because
we want us to be about the whole area. People who are moving to the West Coast. So one thing I should mention is it's January here right now, and there is no snow on the ground. So that's a unique fact to Victoria and southern Vancouver Island. There is a ton of snow up island where people can ski at Mount Washington, and that's a world-class resort. So we wanted something that reflected the whole island because there's lots to see and do here, not just in Victoria, but all throughout Vancouver Island.
And what I like actually is the play on words. So when you think of, hey, I'm on island time. Yeah. It's laid back, right?
Laid back, man.
It's laid back, man. And then putting Vancouver and with Vancouver Island Time, it kind of goes to but when you think of an island, we think of the tropics. But what you're describing here, it's actually almost a little bit of everything, not necessarily the tropics, but certainly the ocean and the mountains. And so I think that kind of that laid back feel and learning something.
Plus, a lot of people are very familiar with Vancouver. So because it hosted the Olympics about 10 years ago. So, this is a way of just sort of making people aware that we are actually the capital of British Columbia, and but we're not really on people's radar. We should be, though. A lot of cruise ships stop by here as well, by the way. So people going up to Alaska stop by Victoria. It's totally gorgeous, the harbor. So one day we'll do a podcast and I'll show you what it's like to hang out in the harbor with all the lights.
Oh, I'd love to. I'm coming up there. I'm getting ready. I will be there. I'd love to come and visit.
Well, you have to stay at the Oswego Hotel because Suzanne Gatrell there is one of eWomen Network members, and she offers special rates to eWomen Network members.
Oh, well, that's definitely good to know. All right, my friend, I'm going to let you take it over from here so people can listen to you. And thank you for the privilege and the honor of allowing me to share you with the world and for being a part of the EWN Podcast Network. We're so happy to have you.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or some place that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.